Very well in Valencia. It's sunny. Planning to go to the yard on Sunday, where my car will be buried in snow. So it's going to be a bit of a change. And yeah, I mean, getting older and still playing with fins, so that's not too bad. Well, I was a basketball player, and then my father got cancer, and I was at university in Milan, and so I kind of said, well, life seems to be not lasting forever, so what am I going to do in my life? And I said, well, the only thing I like is going sailing. So at about age 20, I went to my grandfather's house that was empty on Lake Garda, and I started sailing, and that was it. I left university and I just started sailing. And the first 2 years were in the laser, and then I went to Riva and I saw the ski yachting, and there were 100 plus fins, and a French guy, Luc Cholet, was winning, and I just got captured, and that was the fin, and that has been the fin forever. Well, those were very different times. I had no money, so I was working with the sailmaker, making sails and selling them to pay for my campaign. I had an old rotten car. I was sleeping in the car, going around with my boat, and yeah, and at that time there was a lot of friendship. So we're getting hosted up by friends. We're going to regattas or yacht club members, and nothing. There were a lot of weekly fin racing weeks around. So we started the season, if we're going to the States, with Fort Lauderdale and Miami, if not with the ski yachting in Riva, then, well, even before that, the ski yachting in Cannes, then Riva, then Genoa week, then Anzio. That was a wonderful regatta in Italy where everybody was coming in the Eurolymp circuit. Then we were moving over to Barcelona, Palma, and then we were going to Northern Europe, Medemblik, Denmark, Sweden, and Kiel, and then the Europeans and Worlds. Even though at that time, doing the Worlds was always a huge thing. So I didn't really do many European or Worlds in my career. So I think if I count together European Worlds and Olympics, I think I've done 16 events. And I had a nearly 20-year-old career. So some years it just was too expensive, you couldn't go, or it was a bit of a different times. And then slowly I started making results, but it was ups and downs. Then my father died in 87, so I tried to go to the 88 Olympics. I was leading the trials before the last race, and then a fluky last race in Medemblik, and being a bit too nervous, I lost it. And then 92, I did the trials again, and I got sick during the trials, so I couldn't do the first regatta, so that was it for me. And then finally in 96, I qualified, and I went to my first Olympics. And there I didn't do really well. I finished 16th, and I had really ups and downs, and started over the line one time or two. And yeah, and slowly I was getting better and learning a lot more about myself. And I was missing the hours as I started so late. I started with 19 sailing dinghies. So it just took me very long to get all the way up to the top. And then 97, I won the Europeans in Split in Croatia. And that was a legendary regatta for me. And a month later, there was the Gold Cup in Poland, in Górki Zachodnie, near Gdansk. And yeah, I mean, I was winning the Gold Cup. It was the second last race. I port tacked the fleet. Is blowing strong, very strong winds. I was leading the race. Second was Rafa Trujillo, had a huge lead. And then my back went, and I broke a disc. So then that wasn't to be the Gold Cup. So I was in pain, and yeah, I finished 13th, and I couldn't even walk, and finished second in that Gold Cup. Then I had to take a year off because of the back pain, and they wanted to give me surgery. I didn't really want to, for a lot of medical reasons. My naturopathic doctor, Wolfgang Gertz, also didn't suggest me to get surgery. And so I did a lot of physiotherapy, and it took me 1.5 years to get back in the boat. And it was a bit of a close call for the Sydney Olympics, but I managed to get back. The first trial regatta was here a week. I finished second overall, and that was it for the trials for Italy. And then I went to Sydney, and Sydney was the apex of my career. I got a silver medal. Could have done better, could have done worse. Was not very lucky there, as I had a couple of collisions on the first race. So I finished 18th, another collision on the fourth race. And then the second last day, we were sailing in the ocean, and it was 7 miles away from the base, and my coach didn't arrive to tow me. So there were 25 fins, and I saw the first one going, and the 10th one going, and the 24th was Richard Clark from Canada. And I threw him my tow rope, and he said, "But Luca, we're late. If we tow you, we're gonna get late to the start." Well, I said, "But I'm in a bronze medal position. You're 15th. Are you gonna leave me here?" So he just took me and towed me out. And we got late to the start, and so that was a nightmare. So that day was the 15th, starting late, and at 10th, my Italian coach had forgotten to fill up with gasoline, so he didn't arrive in time, and so that was a bit of a nightmare. And so everything was kind of gone until before the last day, and I was really angry and pissed off, and so I got very drunk. And the day after, well, everything came together good, and I won the first race inside the bay, and from there on was controlling, but only silver was possible, as Percy had already won gold. So that was kind of the end of my career. But in 2002 there was the Europeans in Cheshire, a place I loved. I'd already been second at the Europeans there. That was my first great result, winning 3 races out of 7, same as Jose Maria van der Ploeg, that was the Olympic champion. He won 3 races out of 7, and I was nearly 40, but I loved the place so much. I said, I'm going to train for that. So I went to Palma de Mallorca. I didn't even have a boat. And I said, I'm not going to work for the yard. I'm just going to try to get fit and sail. And it was like 4 months before, and I started training, and there was gym and bicycle and stretching and running, getting flexibility. And after a month, I kind of wanted to go sailing. So I was asking around it. There was a fin there, and there was an old Marder fin, a red deck Marder fin that was stranded in Palma. So I took that and started going out on my own. And then I tried to find somebody to train with. So there was a guy from Mallorca that had a brand new Devoti. And so he said, "But what kind of boat are you using?" "Well, this old crappy Marder." And the guy said, "I'm not going to sail with you." I said, "Come on, I'm Devoti. Come and sail. What are you doing?" And so then he came, and we went sailing, and I just killed him. And the feelings were back, and I was getting strong. And so I sailed a month with this Marder, thanks to that was property of the manager of the club in El Arenal. And so I called the yard, I made myself a boat, and off I went to Cheshire in Turkey. And that was an unbelievable ride. I finished second only because I had a Rule 69 protest against Ben Ainsley that threatened to kill me the last day, lifting his paddle, because I'd match raced him and parked him twice. Don't even know how I did that, because he was a better match racer than me, but I managed, and he lost it and ran after me with a paddle, and then I couldn't match race him anymore, and there were 2 General Ricos, so the 2 times I parked him weren't working. He freaked out, so I couldn't match race him, and so I started at the pin round in the Wilmore marking first. But of course, 40 years were 40 years. He was younger, so he passed me on the reach. He finished first in that race, and me fourth, and so I was second in that championship. But I did protest him, and it was a very funny protest. He got a Rule 69, and with mention to the national authority and to ISAF at that time, now World Sailing, but didn't get disqualified, which was pretty surprising to me, because, well, if I would have done something like that, I would have got 2-year ban minimum. But anyhow, so that was the end of my career. Then I stopped racing, and I went into coaching. And so I coached David Burrows from Ireland, a fantastic athlete, very clever man. And he he approached the 204 Olympics not in the right way, as it was his last regatta, and he loved sailing, and he had to go working at PricewaterhouseCoopers in New York. So he led around the Wimmer mark half of the races in those Olympics, but then did all sorts of crazy things, Dutch marks, capsized, and he was a fantastic athlete. And so he finished 11th, and that was the start of my coaching career. And then I was, at that time I was coaching from the fin. I was going sailing with him, I was going biking with him, I was going to the gym with him. And I could perform well in training, but I couldn't race anymore. I just didn't have the adrenaline, the desire, and possibly the condition. Over 40, it's game over at the highest level, and that is for every sailor. And it was like that for me too. And and then I went back to my house on Lake Garda, and I got a call from two America's Cup teams. One was Sociolosa, and I just, I mean, it was Italian, South African, and nothing to do with me. And then the yacht club opposite my house on the other side of the lake from Gargnano asked me to run plus 39. And I thought, well, that's destiny coming. And so I went and ran this team, but we didn't have money, and it was a bit of a disaster. But I just hired a lot of fin sailors. So Ian Percy was helming, Ian Walker was a tactician, Rafa Trujillo was doing the mainsail, Mike Meyer was grinding, and Alejandro Coya was on the bow, and and Bart Simpson that died then with the Oracle, with Artemis was aiding the tactician, and we had fantastic guys, and so that was a lot of fun. But the lack of funding that made this campaign a bit of a nightmare. Then the cup got blown, but that had taken me to Valencia, and I started working as a coach for the Italian Federation, and then opened up Dinghy Academy, and we've had sailors from 37 countries coming through, and when we went to Rio, I had coached 4 guys, and they won half of the races, and Vasily got silver at 41 years of age. So he beat me in terms of being the oldest fin sailor in history. And then we continued with the Dinghy Academy, and then Jean Robert's got a medal in Tokyo, and now he's won the Star Sailors League. We had a wonderful call. I congratulated him, and he was so happy. So a lot done with the fin, and now I'm running my yard. We just made a new fin, some small changes to make it easier to sail for what is the actual population. It's not the 2-meter tall guys like Giles Scott and Zombie, ultra fit and doing nothing else than fin sailing, and that keeps me in the loop, and I continue. But of course, now I'm over 60, so a lot of water has gone under the bridge. Valencia's been a very unique experience for all those who trained there. I mean, it was like a community. So I had these offices, I'd set up bedrooms. Most of the athletes I personally sponsored or helped. Everybody was helping each other. They're strong characters. They're fighting with each other and everything. But it was not only about sailing. It was about friendship. It was about, the values of the fin. And it was a very, very, very unique experience. We didn't race so much because all the sailors did not have really big budgets. We did a lot of in-house racing. We're doing not so many regattas, but when we were going to race, we were doing well. So, I don't know, we had European Championship, Zombie was second, Miller Frears was third. We had a Youth Worlds where Andrea Teplik won. We had another Worlds where Facundo, I think, was first among the youths. We had Vasily that led by example and was a very charismatic sailor, and it was a twice Olympic medalist, but he wasn't really that brilliant in the fin, and so he was with us for 6 years. We had Jean-Bien, an amazing character, a fantastic talent, was there for a long time. We had, as I say, guys are now sailing America's Cup, like the two Kiwis that won both the Gold Cup, training with us for months. The German team, a lot of people came by, testing the boats and everything. And Valencia is a wonderful place. And so we had a social life. We were making asados, cooking, eating, drinking, having fun, and training really hard. And we found a very interesting man, a physical coach, that had been the physical coach of the youth basketball team of Spain when they won the Worlds, and had coached athletes that then gone into the NBA, like Pau Gasol and so on, Mundina, and he just brought a scientific approach to the training. So we had no means, but we actually were very sophisticated in peaking and finding the ways. And then Wolfgang Gertz helped us with the orthomolecular supplementation, and so we were pretty sharp on vitamins and minerals and everything you needed to perform in a clean way. And yeah, we were doing some sort of mental training also. And yeah, I mean, it was a lot of fun, and for many years. And for me, basically, time didn't go by. I just got older, but didn't really notice until the Finn got kicked out of the Olympics, and then I felt that, hang on a minute, you're getting into 60, and things have changed. So, and we were going on the water continuously, and we also had all kind of sailors. I mean, we had a Russian friend, Andrew Beale, an opera singer, and he was coming to Valencia and then singing O Sole Mio in our offices, and everybody was just struck by lightning because he was so good. And yeah, I mean, a lot of things happen. I mean, even crazy things like fighting in the discotheques, and then having the police coming and asking, where is this gentleman, as he has to do 30 days of social services because he bite the arm of a doorman at the discotheque and stuff like that. Well, he's in Australia, we can do nothing about that, and so on and so forth. So it was interesting. So I had to be a bit like the good father of all these kids that reminded me a little bit of how I was when I was young, with Stig Vestergaard and Bjorn and Lasse Hjortnäs and Spitzauer and all the sailors that went through my house on the lake when I was just sailing there every day. So it has been fantastic experience. I don't regret a single minute. It's now over. We did fight to keep the Finn, but we just couldn't keep it, and sailing has lost a lot because you don't have the personalities anymore. And the fact that Giambi wins the Star Sailors League is another proof that what we had done was extraordinary, that the group of sailors that the Finn had created were the absolute excellence at the sailing, and lost a lot by losing the Finn. And actually now when you go to an Olympic regatta, you see, at least for me, the aura is gone. There are some surfers on the beach, some kiters on another one. There's no spectators, nobody cares, and the meat is gone. But possibly that's only me. As I say, I'm getting old, and but I don't really see sailing having done any step forward the way it has changed. And I think the Finn was their best event, and yeah, it's going to be greatly missed, but it's past, and this is where we are. I think to attract young people in the class, we should change a little bit the format, make it a little bit easier to take part. We should have a little bit, shorter races in terms of days and time on the water, make it easier even physically to be part of the game. But the kind of excellence that the Olympics took with, we cannot expect, because basically all the top sailors were all just sailing Finns and doing nothing else, and just focusing on getting perfect at it for years on end. And that is not possible if it's not Olympic, if you don't have federations supporting you, if you don't have the funding. So it has to be different. It has to be fun. It has to appeal to young people. We tried last year to do something at the Europeans with Zombie and tried, and they are doing a great job in Hungary. They have a lot of youth there. it is, yeah, it is difficult because there is an economical crisis, and sailing as such, with the format it has, is not growing really very much. So yeah, I mean, we are a class that is transgenerational. You have young, you have middle aged, you have very old guys. Some of our values are still there, you know, actually nearly all of them. We develop friendships that last for a long time. The boat is still special to sail. And yeah, and that's where we are. And yeah, having centers might help, but you need fundings. And so how to generate that funding is the problem, how to generate the interest, and how to keep this kind of activities alive. Like even Thingy Academy would have not worked without some pretty unreasonable commitment on my side, and the support of the yard. So it's, but for sure, it's a wonderful place, and some of that spirit can be recouped and gathered. And there are some young people selling fins, but it's difficult to attract them when the Olympics are not there. So you either go completely new and invent something, and that's difficult nowadays, or we have to accept what we are, and we can grow, like the OK Dinghy class, like the Snipe class, like all these traditional classes, and have a place in the sport of sailing. But it's going to be a different place that we had when we were Olympics. We're an Olympic class. It's part of life, and we have to accept it and make the best out of it. And as I say, make the events as fun as we possibly can. As those who now sail a fin, they sail it for the love, and they want to have fun. The Olympic dream is not there anymore, but the Gold Cup is still the Gold Cup, so it's worth trying to. You know, when we started this, it was me and my ex-partner Tim Tavinor, an English fin sailor, and we were two pretty average fin sailors. I mean, in actual fact, the one Europeans, he finished second to last, and I finished last. You know? And the reason why we started was to pay for our campaigns, and for the dream of having a better boat. And the investment was my Vanguard fin that I sold, and with that money we made the hull mold. And then I was training in the States, preparing for the new boat, and I got a call from Tim and said, "Look, we spent all the money that we got selling your fin, and we only made the hull mold. So what do we do?" And I said, "Well, let's make a plywood deck." And so I got the first Devoti fin delivered to this ski yachting in Riva, and there's 60 fins. And Timmy told me, if you're able to collect 7 deposits, we can build the deck mold and we can continue. Otherwise, our business effort is gone. And yeah, I went there, and well, it was destiny. I won every race, and I sold 8 fins and got 8 deposits. And with that, we could build the deck mold and start the Devoti sailing. So that was already in 1993. So 30 years ago. And from there on, we kept on working, and then Tim left the company, and then Roman Templi took over, and now I took over finally in 2002. And it's been a fantastic ride. When we started, we thought that we couldn't sell very much. So I went and saw Chip Jones at Vanguard, and all the fins were Vanguard at the time. And I said, "Look, we are making this, we have a faster boat, we have improved the shape, and this and that and the other. Why don't you build our fin in the States and we become Vanguard Europe?" And he looked at me and said, "No way, you can do your own thing." And if I'm not wrong, since that moment, he built 3 fins, and we built possibly over 2,000, something, nearly 3,000. So it was a lucky story. And then we managed to supply the fins to the 96 Olympics. And that was when I kind of became a shareholder of the company, because before it was Tim's company and I was just helping with the marketing. And so when the Olympics came, I said to Tim, if I get to supply the boats to the 96 Olympics, we do 50-50 with the yard. He said yes. And so I called the SOCOG, the organizing committee for the Olympic Games in the US. And I was very lucky. I found an Italo-American that only wanted to talk about Formula One racing cars. And so we talked about Formula One racing cars for 1 year, and then And then we made a deal, and so we supplied the '96 Olympics, which was one of the reasons why I couldn't really race there, because it was an unbelievable place, and supplying the boats and racing wasn't really something that you combine together. And that was the last time the Finn was supplied. 2000, everybody brought his own boat, but I think luckily, because we did a better job, we basically have helped all the medalists to win a medal, and have had only the body fins for a lot of games. Actually, since '96, because we supplied, and then already in 2000 they were all boats from our yard, and so it's been an unbelievable ride. But of course, especially at the beginning when I was actively selling the boats, it was not easy to race against people that were your customers. So yeah, I've learned a lot, and yeah, as I say, I regret nothing. I just loved it. I loved the ride, and it has taken me to Valencia from Lake Garda, a wonderful city with the America's Cup. I now have a little house in Poland where I go when I go to the yard. The workers there are really nice. They love what they do. They're passionate about what they do, and they're very, very good. They run the yard themselves because they know what to do. And yeah, I mean, I'm missing the Finn in every form and way. I miss the purity of the rules. I miss the fact that those were measurement boats where anyone could build a boat, and you could be the best within certain parameters, but it was fair. And now we have these crazy systems with builder manuals that are secret. And yeah, I mean, this is nothing compared to the Finn. We were so far ahead. It's not even funny, but times have gone by and the sport has changed, and it is what it is. But I'm happy. So I'm happy. I got a daughter, 20 years old. She helps in the yard. I got a son, 8 years old. He's wonderful. I got a wonderful wife, and I've had and will have a wonderful lifestyle due to sailing and all the friends I made. So when I look back, I'm happy. When I look forward, I'm happy. I have to work some more, having an 8-year-old son, so that keeps me young. So it's yeah, the Finn is magic. So it was worth taking this route instead of being a Bocconi University graduate, ending up working for some boring mega company. There's one thing that I would like everybody to know, that we as Devoti Sailing are in to help young sailors. So if anyone is younger than 25 years old, he can contact me directly. He'll get a great discount on the boat and help to get into the class. We think is continuing our mission to promote our class, and we want to help young sailors. And so if you're young and want to try the Finn, get in touch and we'll help you out like we've always done with young sailors.